Battlefield 6 has finally been out for a couple of days, bringing many much-needed changes from its excellent beta to further improve its insane immersive experience. And while there may not be naval warfare or vast large-scale maps in the traditional Battlefield fashion, what's present is a solid Battlefield with lots of heart and care, leading many to say Battlefield just might be back. And with the news that the game has sold 7 million units, making it a record seller for the Battlefield franchise, we figured it's time to go over a couple of tips. Whether you're new to the series, a franchise veteran, or someone who just hasn't played a Battlefield game in quite some time, we're going to go over some general tips to help you settle into the newest Battlefield experience. Without further ado, here's our guide for some general tips for Battlefield 6. PTFO. Without a shadow of a doubt, the most important piece of advice we can remind you of is to play the f***ing objective. Okay, it's a little bit harsh to say it like that, but we've noticed many players on our team are ignoring everything around them and roaming aimlessly around the map, either making bad pushes solo or skipping the revive request to respawn and waste a ticket. Playing the objective is absolutely necessary in Battlefield 6, and we beg everyone watching this to capture, defend, and contest every objective. While this rings true for every Battlefield title, it's even more so the case in Battlefield 6 due to the implementation of the new critical mission success failure system found in Conquest, where teams can force a win condition by securing every point on the map. And no, this does not only apply to the team currently in the lead. For example, if you're up by 100 or so tickets and have 3 of the 5 points, you're doing pretty well overall. However, if the opposing team somehow captures all points while holding onto their 2, you'll only have 1 minute to neutralize at least one of the points, or you'll lose the match outright, despite being in the lead ticket-wise. Whether you like this rule or not, that's simply how it currently stands, making it all the more crucial to pursue the objective and ensure the opposing team doesn't force this win condition on you. It can happen very, very quickly, as all it takes is one solid push and defensive stand to end it all. And even though other game modes can't end as quickly or as abruptly, their objectives are just as crucial. And we, once more, are begging everyone to try their hardest to take or defend them. Not only are you rewarded with more squad points and experience for doing so, but you'll be in the thick of the battle, which grants you more opportunities for leveling up your weapon or vehicle of choice. Granted, there will be some times where you should ignore being directly on the objective to shoot down a jet, destroy a tank, or even find an advantageous spot as a sniper, but all of these are still in direct service of the objective, even if they're a bit more passive, so to speak. Regardless, PTFO will not only net you with better XP, but your squad won't despise you as well. It's a win-win. Next, let's quickly cover class signature traits and weapons. Class traits and weapons are a critical aspect of Battlefield 6 that highlight your class's strengths to benefit your team and squad. Signature weapons are a way to encourage you to stick to your specific class's weapons in open weapons playlists. These bonuses are unique perks for weapon types that will give you a slight edge in combat, allowing you to get the most out of your class in the heat of battle. For example, if you select a medic class, but a sniper weapon, you won't have the marksman trait that makes you more proficient with using snipers. Further, signature traits will also allow some classes to focus on specific aspects of the battle, strengthening their contribution to their squad and team to ensure victory is claimed. Some will allow them to spot enemy targets by simply aiming down sights, while others will offer faster objective capturing or preventing enemies from stealing their vehicles. Let's quickly cover each of the class's traits as well as their signature weapons. For Assault, objectives will progress faster, allowing you to capture and neutralize points quicker, including when arming and disarming MCOM stations. Your squad mates will also be able to spawn on you faster than usual. For Assault's weapon, when using assault rifles as an assault class, your sprint to fire speed will be increased, and you'll swap back to your AR faster when swapping weapons. Next is Engineer. When near friendly vehicles, you'll receive reduced incoming explosive damage. It'll also be impossible for enemies to steal your vehicle if left unoccupied. However, you must repair the vehicle's health to keep both effects active. The Engineer signature weapon is the SMG. Hip firing with SMGs as an engineer will be much more accurate than any other weapon type. Next is Recon. Aiming down sights will automatically ping enemies, marking their position in world and on the minimap. Further, all of your teammates will see the marked enemy, not just your squad. The signature weapon for Recon is, of course, the sniper rifle. As Recon, you'll be able to drastically improve your ability to steady your breath when aiming with a sniper. Rechambering between shots will also be quicker, and you'll have reduced weapon sway with a sniper. And last is support. Playing as support allows your squad mates to interact with you in-game to receive needed healing or ammunition. The signature weapon for support is an LMG. Playing as support removes the sprint speed penalty for the support class when wielding an LMG, while also increasing your aim down sight speed. This may seem like an obvious one, but it's important to remember to play your role. For example, if you're an engineer, it's best to stay around friendly vehicles to help repair them and push objectives. And more importantly, remembering to switch to an RPG or some mines to destroy the enemy's vehicle every chance you get. If you're playing the support role to get more ammo, then remember to drop ammunition for your teammates as often as possible. And more importantly, to revive your teammates if they're nearby. You'd be surprised at how many new players are forgetting to revive entirely, running over bodies who are requesting revives. This isn't a new issue in Battlefield, but it's one worth remembering. Movement, mobility, and positioning are crucial. Even after being toned down quite a bit from the beta, movement is still pretty crucial in Battlefield 6. Here are a couple of tips to help you move around the map with a bit more purpose. First, equipping your knife will dramatically increase your movement speed, allowing you to reach objectives, vehicles, or other points of interest substantially faster. Additionally, you can also slide, dive, and combat roll to break your fall, which will all add up to make a pretty robust set of options to take into account when pushing an objective. For example, sliding through a doorway with your weapon at the ready will almost always catch a player on the opposite end off guard, allowing you to quickly take aim if you're a good shot. You can also enable diving to get you quickly and safely into cover while keeping you down below the line of enemy fire. You can also sprint while crouching to get a decent flank around a group of enemies while staying crouched behind cover. And last, crouching just as you land will allow you to perform a combat roll, which will reduce your fall damage while maintaining your momentum. While these examples aren't crazy movement tech like in other shooters, they are still very crucial to use often and have massive benefits. Next, don't forget the ping system.
Heads up, enemy jet in sight!
Pinging should be encouraged more than it typically is in Battlefield, especially when it comes to enemies. Sure, if you're gonna spam ping a location or an objective, it can be annoying, but pinging enemies as often as you can should become second nature to you. Remember to spam the Q, L1, or LB button respectively as you ADS to ping enemies. It's that simple. Tagging an enemy has crucial benefits for your team, allowing them to help you eliminate them if they're nearby, or proceed with caution if they're attempting to revive you. There's literally no downside to pinging enemies, which is why the Recon signature trait is so damn good, as they automatically ping enemies when aiming down sights. Not only that, but you'll also earn XP if an enemy you pinged is eliminated, which should only further encourage you to ping everyone you see, no matter if they're close, far, or even in a vehicle. Wasting tickets should be avoided. Tickets are essentially how many lives your team has, which will tick down throughout the course of the game, ending if it reaches 0. Outside of their win conditions, such as destroying MCOM stations, securing every zone, or a critical mission failure, this is yet another win condition for the enemy that must be avoided at all costs. Fortunately for you, you control when tickets are consumed, as you only lose a ticket when you spawn back into the match. This means if a game is close and coming down to the wire and you go down, you can withhold spawning in to prevent a ticket from ticking down, allowing everyone currently alive the chance to either revive you and get you back in the fight or attempt to close things out. We're aware that not everyone on your team will be wary of this, but the more players that are aware of the ticket system, the better it'll make a substantial difference. Always wait for a nearby support or squad mate to pick you up, even if it's not looking very likely, as you don't want to rush to spawn back in, especially if your team is down in points and has a lot of room to make up. Note that while it can be frustrating or, I guess, boring to remain down with no hope of being revived, it's actually not all that much faster to force yourself to bleed out and mindlessly spam a respawn point. There still is, after all, the respawn countdown you have to wait for. Doing this in general is a disservice to your teammates, and we strongly advise against doing it. At best, only really do so, I guess, if you need to quickly change some equipment or a class, or help make a strategic push. Otherwise, we don't often recommend it. And speaking of not rushing to bleed out and remaining in the down position, you can do more than rage and cry out for a medic when you go down in Battlefield 6. When you're down, you can still ping enemies, allowing you to mark them for nearby teammates. As such, you still serve a purpose if you're down in the battlefield. So, if you go down and request a revive and are waiting for someone to come pick you up, try spending that time pinging a couple nearby enemies. And last, remember to use your equipment and your class tools. For whatever reason in Battlefield 6, it seems like many players are forgetting to use their equipment for strategic purposes. For example, it's not often you're seeing smokes being utilized effectively. If there's a group of soldiers down in the middle of a street, you can throw a smoke in the street to go and pick a couple teammates up. Or if your team is struggling to make a push in the beginning sector of a breakthrough match and are being pinned down by enemy fire, you can always throw a couple smokes to break an enemy's line of sight and make a clutch push. Further, many engineers are also forgetting that they can throw down anti-tank mines. Littering a road with these and successfully taking out an enemy tank can crucially change the tide of battle. Plus, switching to a grenade launcher as an assault can successfully suppress a group of enemies, and using a motion sensor or a recon drone can help spot enemies around the map. But perhaps most crucially, if you're support, don't be afraid to spam supply crates. I can't tell you how often I've played as Assault and have trouble located any kind of ammo from my team around the field. And those are some of our general tips to keep in mind in Battlefield 6. Good luck out in the battlefield. We'll see you in the next one.